This is your public service announcement, okay? Do not, I repeat, do not put Tim Walz and Kamala Harris on pedestals, okay? When you put them on pedestals, you also put them above criticism, you know? They are liberals, and they will fail you in a variety of different ways. Like, this is not to say do not support Kamala Harris. This is not to say don't give her your all in this campaign, because there are only two options on the table, and she's the good one, all right? But what I am saying is that you personally should support her while knowing she is flawed. She is not, like, you know, our savior. She's not Paul Atreides, you know? She's a flawed liberal, and honestly, Paul Atreides, was he a savior or was he a doom upon the people? Who knows? Who can say? We haven't seen the third movie yet. But what I will say is, y'all are gonna get surprised in the third act of the Dune movies. But she is, like, the good option. I say all of this because I saw some of her speech today talking about her housing policies, and, like, they're all Band-Aid solutions. They're not good. They're better than what we have now, but they aren't going to solve the problem, you know? She's gonna need to be pushed a lot on a variety of different issues. If we let her be comfortable, she will sit in inaction quite happily, okay? Yeah, like, again, whenever whenever she starts talking about an alliance between big business and the working class, no, sorry, you've misunderstood the assignment. Or rather, you've gotten some business donors in your corner now, you know? But, again, like, she's a liberal. At the end of the day, she's a liberal. She's better than Biden was in a lot of ways, but she's a liberal. She fundamentally misunderstands the problem at work in society and does not have the courage to fully fix those issues, only to provide band-aids. And those band-aids are better than nothing, and certainly better than, like, a stab to the heart, which is what Donald Trump would give you, you know? Did you ever think the problem will never be solved, that we'll have to fight forever? We will have to fight forever. Like, that's the thing, right? That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, that's the exact point of the messaging, which is that you can't sit back and think, okay, Kamala will fix everything, because that only sets you up for disappointment, you know? And I don't want you guys to hit that point of disillusionment unexpectedly. I'm letting you know it's gonna happen. She's gonna have real big problems. So don't let her failures radicalize you to worse positions. Is it too late or too early to push her right now, or with how she's rolling out more concrete policy positions? Figured we should try to push her further left than she's going right now, since once she's in office. I think her team is calculating a platform that will be centrist enough to work in the general election. Yeah, I think though, like, now's a fine time to push. Like, we can push her now, and we can push her in the future. I think it was good of people to interrupt her speeches and in protest. I think that was good. I think that we should continue to push as much as we can with our messaging to get her to adopt better and better policies. You know? You don't stop. Now, what I do want to say is that right now, she's the vice president. So she is limited in what she can say publicly. in her role as a candidate and in her role as a VP. And as a vice president, she doesn't have the power to like get a ceasefire. Like she doesn't have the ability to do these things. You know, if Biden is the president, she's the vice president. Like she only becomes politically relevant in her position if Biden dies. So like right now, mostly what she has to do in her professional capacity is support the president. And plus, like, also if she went off to like in a different direction and tried to like order people around as vice president, not only would those things not get done, but also it would alienate a lot of her liberal support. So what I do want you to know is that pushing now is good. Don't expect her to be able to deliver on anything yet, but that's exactly why pushing on her now is good, because this is the time when the campaign is most able to shift and change. It becomes a lot more set in stone once she actually achieves office. And if we are going to get any concrete things being said about, certainly about Gaza, that's going to either come not at all, because she can't say anything about it until after the election, or it's going to come very close to the election. It's going to be like one of those last minute things, so that like a backlash can't hit her and affect her election chances. That's my take anyway. Yeah, it's there's a term for what I'm telling you guys to do. Have critical support for Kamala Harris. You support, but you also criticize. Because if you sleepwalk into just supporting, you can wind up radicalizing yourself in negative ways. I think a lot of people with certain political candidates have done that. I think people did that with Obama, like when he was running on hope and change and then didn't really deliver on that. Like a lot of people got radicalized into being non-voters. So it's something to be aware of to protect yourselves, you know, and to maintain the ability to be politically relevant. I'm a single issue voter, and that single issue is that I need a candidate to go on Hot Ones. I think we should get candidates and vice presidential candidates to go on Hot Ones, okay? I want to see Tim Walz go on Hot Ones. I want to see that so badly. After he said he can't handle, he can only eat white people tacos, I want to see him on Hot Ones. I want to see him struggle and like just gulp down milk on Hot Ones. And I don't think he would do it, because that's not really a good look for anyone, but it would be extremely funny content. Why do you want to see him tap out on Wing 3? Kinda, yeah. Oh god, I wasn't gonna do this, but you guys all saw conservatives were treating Tim Walz saying that white people can't handle spice as if he had done the greatest anti-white racism of all time. Like Ted Cruz is upset on behalf of white people. Ben Shapiro like wrote essentially a parody of himself about how, of course, white people can handle spices. What white people waged a several centuries-long war against the world for spices, and it's like, oh, okay. Now Ben Shapiro understands colonialism. It's the first time I've ever heard him acknowledge that it was a thing that affected the wider world. You know, like. Ben had to summon so much fake outrage over that he became an anti-colonialist. The amount of radicalization that the far right has had to go through in order to hate Tim Walz is actually quite astonishing. It's very funny. Sorry, my computer. I've been charging my phone. Because it ran out of batteries. Do. All right. Once again, proving the weird allegations. Oh, we're gonna just have infinite ammo on conservatives forever. They're hopelessly weird. I just like, it's not a controversial thing. In Minnesota, Minnesotans are like, yeah, I can only handle salt and pepper. Those are the two spiciest things I know. The spiciest substance known to man. That's why I'm a little bit edgy and I put a little bit of extra pepper into my hot dish. That's my secret. Like, white people at like white people family gatherings talk about this all the time. The fact that conservatives are so out of touch and trying to treat this like it's a beyond the pale racism is insane to me. You know? Like, especially because this is my people. Like, I know people exactly like Tim Walz. All right? In my family, there are people exactly like Tim Walz. They were investigating Walz's hot dish. Look, if Ben Shapiro wanted to, like, make Tim Walz's hot dish and, like, shit on that, that would at least be entertaining content, okay? My ex-mother-in-law once warned everyone at an Easter party that some of the deviled eggs had paprika. Yeah, see? See? That's what I'm talking about. Like, white people in the Midwest and in other places around the country, but like, I know the Midwest, white people will literally be like, look out, there's a little bit of paprika on those eggs, okay? They might have a little bit of a bite. They might have a little bit of a bite, all right? I put a little bit of the cinnamon in the eggnog, okay? Might be a bit spicy. I've had people tell me bell peppers are spicy. Do they know there are different types of paprika? No, because they don't use them. Like that's the thing, right? Like, if you say something that's not salt or pepper, Minnesotans will just assume it's an exotic spice that's too hot for them to handle. Honestly, this is why Flamin' Hot Cheetos were a revelation in the Midwest, okay? A cultural phenomenon. Because suddenly, people here were eating spicy things. What about horseradish? Horseradish is probably okay. Because it has a horse in it. And also because horseradish isn't really spicy in the way that... Like, horseradish isn't really spicy in the way that people mean spicy in this context. Getting stopped at the border of Minnesota and interrogated by my bottle of turmeric.